Good morning, everybody. It's Carla. I hope everyone's having a great Thursday. And I just got up and was looking at some sweet videos of our reborn community and enjoying the morning before I get busy. But I started reminiscing about dolls that I had had as a child. And I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. I was a very urban city little kid. It was just me and my older brother, who was 5 years older than me. We had lots of neighborhood kids and that we would play with. And working class family. My dad was an iron worker. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. And they were both children of the Depression and very, very frugal with their money, and they didn't see a lot of point in buying many toys. So the few dolls that I did get were very unique, and I always thought they were very special. Of course, they've been lost down through time. I no longer have any of these dolls, and so these are just representations of dolls that I did have, and a little story behind each one. My parents have both passed away now, one in 1999, the other in 2001. And so now I'm a grandma myself, and I, just kind of am reminiscing and remembering what was special to me. So this first doll was the first one that I remembered ever having. It looked very similar to this one. This is not the doll I had, but it looked very similar. My dad bought it from the top shelf in a Great Scott supermarket. It was a plastic doll, and I had seen it when we were out buying groceries one day, and I guess I wanted it. And then a short time later, my dad brought it home to me, and it was dressed in a little painter's smock with a beret, and it was so sweet. And he took it out of the package, and the hand fell off. Because it was hard plastic and, probably got jostled around in shipping or something, it just broke off. And I was heartbroken. He took it back to the store, and they had another one, and he got it for me. And I named it Junior. And it was just a big, hard baby doll. I think I always kept his original clothes on him. And I love that doll, and I had him up until my teenage years, so I was very tickled with him, and he was a sweetheart. So that was my 1950s edition plastic doll. I've been looking these up online to kind of show you what I did have as a child. So here's the next one. I had an original Tiny Thumbelina, which now when I look at this doll, I'm like, boy, those eyes are scary, but I loved her so much. And some of you probably had this same doll, and she had the knob on her back, and when you wound it up, she would lay in your arms and move. She would, just kind of wiggle or wriggle around like a little baby, and she was so sweet. And I loved that baby so much. So I had Junior, and then I had Tiny Thumbelina, and her name was Sweetie Pie. And my favorite memory of her was when I was little. My grandma in Tennessee died when I was 11, so this would have been maybe when I was 8 or 9. And we had took a trip to Tennessee to see her. And my grandma loved to sew, and I guess she did some sewing at home. She'd make doll clothes for a doll company, and then she'd box them up and ship them back, and they would send her a check. Well, she got to keep the scrap material, and so when we went on this visit, she said, "Oh, leave that pretty baby with me. I would love to make some doll clothes for her." And Grandma loves babies, and she did. She had 14 of her own, so she truly loved babies. But of course, I was a little young baby girl or young child, and this was my doll, and I wasn't leaving my doll in Tennessee. And later on, after she had passed and that, I thought, boy, I wish I would have left. But I had an 8 or 9-year-old mentality, and to me that was my doll. So, but yeah, my grandma loved her. She picked her up and held her just like a real baby and stuff. But yes, this was the original tiny Thumbelina, and I was lucky enough to have her up until my teenage years as well. The next one, let's see. Mine was not 28 inches tall. She was a little bit shorter than that, but looked almost identical to this, and it was a bride doll. And I don't know where my parents even got this for me. It was a used doll when I got it. Her gown was not, pearly white anymore. It was kind of a dingy grayish yellow. But she was very pretty, and I remember she had little pearl earrings and a little choker around her neck, and she had the veil. She was still very pretty. And I just set her on the bed. And, back then, I just didn't have doll clothes or make doll clothes or anything, and you just kind of enjoyed the doll the way they came, or at least I did. And she was very, very pretty, and she was made of rubber. She wasn't hard. She was very soft for the time, and I really, really liked that doll, and I didn't have a name for her. It was just my bride doll. And the next one was an original Patty Play Pal. Now, some of you probably remember this. Mine had this exact same dress, little white socks, black patent, little Mary Jane shoes, only mine had dark brown hair. And I did to my doll what whoever owned this doll did to theirs. I cut my doll's hair. Now, I didn't cut the sides and that, but I did cut her bangs a little. I don't know what it was about little girls back in the day. We thought we had to cut their bangs. Maybe because we got our bangs cut and we thought that was kind of cool. My parents, like I said, were not big on Christmas and toy giving. And so this one year, when they bought me this doll, they got my brother some kind of a big hockey game, mechanical hockey game you could sit on the floor and play. And they had went through my dad's Ironworkers Union. They had a big toy sale, and if you were a union member, you could go in and get these toys at a discount. So my brother got his football game, and I got Patty Play Pal. Well, I already had my junior, and I had my Sweetie Pie, and this doll scared me. I don't know how old I was, but she was a big girl, and you'd hold her hand, and her opposite leg would move ahead, and you could kind of mechanically walk her, and she just kind of freaked me out. I don't know what was about her. And then my mom put her in the corner of the room, and she was kind of like, to me, like a clown over in the corner of the room. I'd wake up at night and I would just kind of be shocked that there's this little girl standing there looking at me. And I never did like this doll. I'm sorry. I just never liked her. And I did have her, and then when I moved out of the house and got married and everything, my mom kept her for a while, and later she was sold at a yard sale. And, now looking back and loving dolls as an adult, I wish I had her back. But, she's still, I don't know, the memory of her kind of freaked me out. And then I didn't put pictures up, but some of you might remember as a preteen, I got into the Barbie dolls. Now, the only Barbie I ever had was, I guess, a real collectible one now, and I wish I did have her. She had hard molded hair, but she came with 3 wigs. This big bouffant style and a straight style and some kind of curly wig. And that would be a highly collectible doll now, but I remember I tried to sew her some clothes and crochet her a little scarf and just do odds and end things, but I really didn't have any little girls that wanted to play Barbie with me. So, and with an older brother, and my mom didn't sit and play with you back in the day. So it got kind of boring. And then they came out with the Tammy doll, if you remember the Tammy movies that were big. I think they had Sandra Dee in them or something. And they kind of played off that name and popularity of those movies and came out with a Tammy doll, which was about the size of a Barbie doll and a little more countrified looking little girl. And I had one of those. And then I think the last doll I got as a young person was a Tressie doll. And that was also about the size of a Barbie, maybe just a teeny bit bigger. And she had a knob in her back, and you could wind hair up. You could pull it out and let it have long hair, or you could wind it up back and it would be a little bit shorter hair. And again, I'd make a little bit of clothes for that. But I never really got into the Barbies and Tammies and Tressies like a lot of people did. So I'm going to leave you with this cute little old commercial that I found. And through the years, I've remembered this song in my head, and I know I saw this, and it just stuck with me, and it was an old 50s commercial. So here, some of you might remember it too. But it's just fun to reminisce and remember the dolls that meant a lot to us as children. And I'd love to see what some of your dolls are, if you want to leave in comments below, or maybe do a video response of dolls that you had as a child and what they meant to you, or a special memory connected with them. I think it would just be very fun to do. So here's that old commercial. Give it a second to boot up here, and let's see if we can get it going.
Are we late? No, but hurry! Look, here she comes! Here comes the bride, lovely to see, dressed in white satin with real embroidery. She moves by herself, it's such fun to play with the bride doll that moves and throws her bouquet. Oh, she's beautiful. I love you, Bonnie Bride. Beautiful Bonnie Bride in her embroidered satin gown. Pull a lever, push a button. Bonnie moves by herself. Press another button, and she throws her bouquet. Here comes the bride. You love to play with the bride doll that moves and throws her bouquet. There's no other doll like Bonnie Bride. Sold at food markets only.
Thank you everyone for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.